Greetings everyone, and welcome to something I'm going to colloquially describe as the Lon'qudor filler arc. You see, I was working on a really big documentary style video for something in this game, and then halfway through I realised that I'm a washed chud, and no one would watch it because it wasn't a video along the lines of which Marvel Rivals heroes have the stinkiest, cheesiest grippers on alternating Sundays, or something like that. And because upload schedules be hungry, I've instead decided to present you all this week with this bottom 3 video idea of all time. Bottom 3 only losing out to Muzark's first Fortnite video and you know the drama video of the woman with the ukulele? I don't remember what it's called. I don't even know what the drama was about, but like that one's worse. So join me in this pointless quest to discuss which of your favourite comfort characters I would sizzle upon the Barbie, with the only caveat being that anyone who makes a joke about eating arse gets their dome blown off. Oh, and also as an apology for breaking my upload schedule, I'm going to try something I've seen a lot of other YouTubers do recently, which is heart every single comment on the video for the first month. If I don't get to your comment within 24 hours of it being posted, send me a DM on Discord and I'll give you a secret prize. Ooh, secret prize right on with the video. So, here is the game we're going to be playing this evening. Let's create a hypothetical scenario in which somehow I wash up on a deserted island and the entire cast of Marvel Rivals are there and they're all semi-willing to be eaten without a fuss. This tier list is basically who would I eat first, who would I rather eat over some other characters, and who would I not touch with a knife and fork at all. And going in line with the whole idea of British food being terrible, which is only half true honestly, I have named the tiers as such. And exquisite delicacies, the characters I would eat above literally everyone else. These guys will be absolutely delicious. A good meal is for those characters who would, still be alright. One prefers finer is, sort of middle of the road, you get the gist. If the occasion insists is only if I would, I'd eat them if I really had to, and oh great heavens, I would not eat at all. So let's immediately start off with 4 characters who I would not eat, but I think are relatively interesting to talk about, and that's these chuckle twits down here. So what does the Fantastic Four offer us in terms of nutrition? A man you could canonically use as a human condom, a man who can't be cooked and therefore would probably be incredibly harmful to eat, Dyrite the Stone Johnson, and a woman who used to be there but is now not. The actual powers these guys have combined with the way they got them via, space radiation or something, it's just not really the kind of thing I'd want to be eating at all. Going into their powers more, it would be incredibly difficult to eat these guys to begin with. Okay, so Mr. Fantastic. Could you even take a bite out of him, or would it just stretch for miles like the stringiest piece of cheese? Yes, you could technically eat Invis, but that sort of comes back to the whole idea of her molecular makeup is going to be different to a human's, and we don't know what the side effects of eating her would be. I mentioned earlier with Torch, but you wouldn't be able to cook Torch at all, and so I'm not going to be eating anyone I can't cook over a naked flame. And then the thing I know has meat underneath all of his stones, but what am I going to do? Ask him to slam his head into a rock until I can get to the underneath? No, this isn't Poppy Playtime. Pickaxes don't grow on trees, and neither does my patience. So absolutely I would not eat any of these guys at all, and I guess we can also throw some of the other ones in there that I really wouldn't eat at all either. I don't really know if Groot can grow fruits. I've seen him grow flowers and fireflies for some reason, but not fruits, so I'm just going to assume he can't, and I, can't exactly eat wood. Ultron is the only character in the entire game apart from Groot with no meat on him at all, so that's not happening. And then Venom is literally a parasite, so whatever's left of Eddie once Venom dies, I really don't want to be going near at all. So those are the immediate no-nos that stick out to me the most. Let's talk about some characters I would eat, and yeah, I think this one's without question. Sharks are most commonly eaten in a form of shark fin soup, and I think shark fin soup is fascinating because it's incredibly dumb. Shark fins aren't meat, they are collagen, and the whole reason shark fins are eaten in soup is because of the way the collagens grow has this really unique stringily mouth texture to them when you eat them. They don't have any flavour, they don't have any nutritional value, it's literally just texture soup. But that being said, you could eat a shark, and you could eat other parts of a shark as well, definitely. I mean, it's a great waste to only eat, the fins, and then just throw the rest out. I assume the rest gets made into tuna or something. But also we have another problem with Jeff, in that a shark's skeleton is made of collagen except for the jaw, so Jeff wouldn't really be able to support himself on a collagen skeleton, so he's most likely got a proper bone mammal skeleton, and therefore there's going to be lots of little bits of bones here and there, because just look at him, he looks bony. So that would be annoying and inconvenient, but to be fair, I'd much rather eat Jeff than pretty much everyone else on this list actually, so I really don't mind. Jeff would be delicious, that's what I'm saying. Other characters I would immediately eat, well, I think we're going to have to go into my ranking for that a little bit further. So immediately the 2 things that put me off are aliens and humans with mutations. Just knowing how long Marvel has been around, and the X-Men in turn, I am fairly fairly confident there has to be an X-Men comic out there where eating mutant meat causes some sort of virus to go around. You know, I'm sure it's happened. On a DNA-based level, mutants are just naturally different to humans, and therefore I don't really know what the side effects would be to eating one, so that's rather something I'd avoid if possible. You know, it's not like you're supposed to eat human to begin with. That alone has all sorts of harmful side effects, but prefer the enemy you know than the enemy you don't. So I'm immediately not inclined to the X-Men just on a base level. The only other tribulation I'd like to add to that is any character with a form change I would probably not eat at all either, because, you know, that's different to a human times 2. So characters like Magic, for example, with the whole Dark Child transformation thing, you could eat Magic, and I'd rather eat her over anyone in this tier list. You know, it's going to propose some risks that you don't quite understand going into it. Think of if the occasion insists as an emergency sort of snacking tier, so we can put most of the X-Men in here. Now, I say most of the X-Men because there are a few tribulations. First of all, Deadpool and Wolverine are going to be going down into Oh Great Heavens. So in order to eat these guys, we're going to have to kill and we're going to have to cook them, and that's going to be extremely hard for characters who are just infinitely regenerating whilst you're trying to do that. And likewise, I'm also going to group up Phoenix with them, as I don't really know how Phoenix reincarnation works in its entirety, but the idea of potentially eating her and then she reincarnating in my stomach, yeah, I'm not a furry, that's not really the kind of thing I'm into. Another X-Men I would not eat is Rogue, as Rogue is physically harmful to touch. I don't mean that in a nasty way, she's a nice person and everything, but since I don't have powers, I think if I tried to bite her, it would, instead of draining my life force, it would just drain my bank account or something, I don't know. Sounds like the kind of thing EA would do, charge you like 15 quid per bite of a corpse. Now, switching gears slightly into some characters I would eat, I would actually have a good snack on Namor. That's something I would do. Trying to remember what I do about Namor. I think he's only half mutant, so that's sort of playing out in my favour. And also, he spends a lot of time under the sea, so he's probably going to be quite fishy. And if we're disguising, you know, human meat as fish, I'd rather we do that than we disguise human meat as human meat. Plus, he'd bring the squids, and that's on the table. You can eat the abilities as well, but most character abilities in this game aren't really edible. So I personally think that eating Namor would solve most of the problems the world has. Other characters I would eat. Yeah, I think Penny would be quite nice actually. I might even put her up into Exquisite Delicacy, we'll dwell on it. One thing I'll say about Penny, she looks chewy. Like, she looks like she'd be Chewy. I'm not implying anything when I say that, I'm just saying that she looks like she would be Chewy. I know she was bitten by a spider, but it seems to be that the main product of that was a Neuralink with the mech / the spider in the mech, so I think it would be fine. I think on a molecular level she's close enough to human anyway, which I guess means on the complete opposite end of things we should put Peter down here. I remember watching this documentary quite a while ago about this Cambodian village that catch tarantulas and deep fry them, and apparently the bum of a spider is quite creamy, but I really don't care how creamy Peter's bum is, I'm not eating it. He's Mutation City, he belongs in here with the X-Men. Might even move him down later, we'll come back to that. Just sort of glancing at the remaining characters in here, there really aren't too many I'd actively want to eat, which is wild. It's almost as if these characters weren't designed to be eaten. Mantis I would not eat, that is an alien. I mean, she seems like she wouldn't mind, she probably, you know, she'd understand that you're hungry and she wouldn't really, you know, obviously that's not part of the ranking, but like, I don't quite trust it. I don't really want to be eating aliens. We could talk about Rocket in that sort of light as well. So, you know, Raccoon, obviously, animal, experimented on, cybernetically enhanced. Yeah, I really don't think Rocket is going to be as nice as you'd think. So I think I would probably put him in one prefers finer, but he could definitely move down to if the occasion insists. In fact, he probably will, but you know, come back to that later. More characters I would eat. More characters I would eat. You know what? I think Cloak and Dagger would actually be quite nice to eat. So yes, I'm aware that they were experimented on and they are, you know, you could class them as mutants if you wanted to. Obviously, they're not a part of the X-Men continuity. But on a base level, I am more inclined to eat healers / those with powers that sort of help people. And okay, look, you can look at it this way. If eating Cloak is harmful and hurts you, and eating Dagger is like nice and heals you, you could just alternate bites between the two. So yeah, I think I'd do that, and I think I'd eat Cloak and Dagger. On that logic as well, I'd probably eat White Fox as well. I mean, hey, look, if you kill her in fox form, that's incredible, and we just have a giant fox to eat, but if not, I'd still make do. It's a transformation between human to animal, not human to monster, so I'm more lenient to snacking on it. Speaking of human to monster, nope, I don't even know if the Hulk's flesh can be pierced, and if we're talking about Banner, then he is incredibly irradiated, so that's not a good idea at all. You know, I've been looking at Squirrel Girl for a while, and I'm really trying to decide on what I want to do. Okay, so Squirrel Girl canonically stinks. She is rancid. The Daredevil makes this very clear to us. So that's not great, but at the same time, she would also bring the squirrels, and I'm sure they would be good too, if not, you know, somewhere in the raccoon realm of musky. So I think I would put Squirrel Girl into Good Meal, and I think I'd do that purely on the basis of she'd bring the appetizers. Adam, I can't believe I forgot you. No, I will not eat you. I don't even know if you can be eaten. I don't know if what you are constitutes as flesh as we know it. I mean, the new Adam Battle Pass skin basically confirms he doesn't have meat, so you know. Blade I've also been thinking about as well. You are half vampire, that is different to a human. I mentioned earlier the whole idea of wanting to, you know, face the evil you know versus the one you don't, which is why I'd rather eat a human over an alien, for example. And I don't know what vampires are like palate-wise. I'm not saying I know what people are like palate-wise, but in terms of what the potential harmful side effects of that could be, no clue. But vampires, I assume, are going to be really similar to humans. So I am going to put you in one prefers finer, but we'll come back to that. Felicia, you're basically just a human, so yeah, why not eat you? Delicious. You might think, why not Black Widow, Hawkeye, and then Punisher as well, because they're basically humans. And I've been thinking about this, and I don't know how I want to handle this, because in Rivals lore, all three of these characters have found a way to stop aging, because I think they come from the 2099 continuity. I remember reading about this in their character bios. So these guys have taken some sort of anti-aging serum. So how would that affect things in terms of taste, side effects? You know, these are basically GM, they're genetically modified characters. And I also wonder what they might look like in terms of corpse preservation. If you stop aging, does that mean you stop decomposing as well? I'm going to throw them into if the occasion insists for now, but we could come back to them as I really don't entirely know what I want to do. Luna, you have powers. That is interesting. That's obviously, you know, a negative on a base level, but at the same time, I feel that your body would preserve for a while due to your ice powers. That might be mental to say, but I sort of have a hunch. So I'm going to put you in, yeah, why not? An exquisite delicacy. Other characters I wouldn't have a good feeling about at all include Bucky. He is also genetically modified, so no to him. And then Wanda's just like kind of an evil bitch or something. You are very chaotic and cursed, and you dip your fingers into all sorts of Lovecraftian pies, so I really don't know what that would do to you. I am going to put you in Oh Great Heavens. I don't think I'd eat you at all. Okay, there's a surprising amount of women in the top two tiers. I didn't plan for that. Any other men I would eat? Yeah, probably Doctor Strange. I'm just going to naturally assume that someone who is medically trained is going to be healthy. And I know he could, you know, probably apply the dick strangling curse of Ra onto his corpse for anyone who eats it, but I don't think he would. Again, we're assuming that they're all semi-willing to be eaten. So yeah, I think I'd eat Doctor Strange. I think that would be fine. He's slightly older than most of the characters in here, well, much older than most of the characters in here anyway, so he might be a little bit tougher, but that'll be alright. BP, you are very modified. No, I would not like to eat you first at all. Moon Knight is really interesting. I don't know how to feel about Moon Knight. What would Conchu have to say about this? That's what I'd be more worried about, actually. Would eating him make me the new Moon Knight? If so, then yes, I would eat him. Okay, so Iron Man is not a character I would eat because he has the arc reactor in his chest in this game. And so, therefore, his body's going to be full of all sorts of nasty metallic chemicals. Not eating that at all, no. Elsa, I'm fairly confident has some sort of regenerative abilities. I mean, in game she can heal under a specific circumstance, and there's also this whole thing with the Bloodstone. So I'm fairly certain things wouldn't be funky fresh with her. I'm not going to do any further research into this topic, as this is more of just a crap post than anything. So yeah, I think I would throw her into Oh Great Heavens just based on the fact that she can heal, and that's scary. Cap, that's another genetically modified human, and there you go. Gambit, it might be dangerous to eat you in that you might, like, I don't know, be rigged to explode or something upon death, but if not, I reckon you'd be fine. You know, mutants, your mutations are fine, actually. They really don't seem to affect your body very much, well, apart from your eyes. So yeah, I think I'd put you in one prefers finer. Daredevil, yeah, you had some, like, chemically stuff going on, but I don't know how your heightened senses would affect things. I'm going to assume heightened senses such as like feel and whatnot are all going to be like blood related, and I don't know how that would affect the taste or quality of the meat either way. I think I'll just put him in one prefers finer for now, just because, well, I think it would be funny to eat him, because in between every other bite I'd just go, your eyes don't work. Star-Lord, you've been galaxy hopping for as long as who knows how. You're probably not going to be the super freshest out there. Loki's interesting because clones are interesting. I don't know how that would work. If we ate him, he couldn't produce more clones, but I don't know if the clones are actually edible or if they're, you know, more or less holograms with mass. I also feel like on death, he'd either curse his body or turn into like the most evil, bitch-ass, nasty snake imaginable. So I think I'm going to put him in Oh Great Heavens. Iron Fist, I have no real tribulations against eating you. You are very fit. You are going to be quite tough, but I think it could happen, and I think it would be fine. Angela, you... Okay, as a human being, you're supposed to have a good blend of fat and muscle, but you seem to be all in one park and not the other. You would be extremely difficult to eat, just on like a toughness level. If the occasion insists that I eat you, I will, but apart from that, I'd rather just not have you as a part of my life. And then finally, Hela and Thor. You're just kind of evil, you're kind of nasty, so I think if the occasion insists. And Thor, I have no real qualms about eating. I feel like his body would be quite crackly, and not in terms of like pork crackling, as in lightning, shocky, deathy crackling. Asgardians are obviously different to humans, but I think it's fair to assume that like a god's flesh is naturally going to be slightly higher quality compared to like a normal human's flesh. So yeah, you know what, I'd put you in one prefers finer. Any alterations or changes I would make, I've been looking at if the occasion insists in Oh Great Heavens. And I'm going to be moving Spider-Man down. I'm also probably going to move exclusively the super soldiers down, as I think there is a difference between taking some sort of serum that reduces / halts your aging and whatever the super soldier serum is, because these two do still age, but at the same time, in terms of genetic enhancements, they are a lot more advanced than these three here, which I guess you could also apply to Black Panther, so why not? Let's move him down too. Just looking at the X-Men, and I'm really thinking about this, characters like Magic and Emma I wouldn't want to eat again because of their transformation abilities, but I think I could. You know, again, this tier is for the characters you could eat if you had to, and this one's for the characters you physically couldn't eat because it would be too dangerous. And I think all of these characters could be eaten. Yeah, you know what, I think that's it. I'm fairly happy with this list. Let's call it there. Yep, I think that's everything I want to talk about. Thank you for watching whatever this turned out to be, and if you are interested in seeing a documentary style video on this game, let me know. So until the day comes when Guang Guang's hairline starts to move down his back like a snake, my name is Lon'qudor, never swap off DPS, and I'll see you in Season 48 with the next upload.